Okay, we're just gonna get at it. Yeah, we're gonna just walk first. We'll see if I regret doing this without like stretching. I should probably. This is me stretching. Oh gosh. Oof. I don't know what the. Listen, in here. Go to this one. It's not so bad. It don't look so bad anyway. I might have to. I have copyright issues apparently because they don't like when I do these. Why is it going so slow? Anyway, we'll let it go slow. It's on a minute left. So it's really hot in here. I can tell you that. Like I don't even walk this slow when I'm walking. It's just like go from point A to point B, or work out, or warm up, or whatever. So it's really odd to just be like, oh yeah, warm up on one, but also like, I guess we could warm up and stretch up. Oh. So like I do like a good comfortable, I like a good 2.4, 2.5. On like my real walk. I don't know like, no, not 2, I guess, but we're doing it crazy. We're gonna just, this is wild. I get like this might be a lot for some people, so shucks. If you going on one, baby, and it's kicking your little booty, let it kick your booty and keep going, it's fine. We're gonna get after it. Look at this hair though. Oof. Little pony today. And it's so funny because like this music, it makes me feel like I'm actually, at a gym. I don't listen to this regularly. And also I don't like listening to music when I've been working out lately. It's posting videos because there's like all these copyright things, and obviously I haven't figured out how to bypass that or whatever, but like working out, you need music, you know? And gosh, you've seen it. I've walked or worked out with music just in my head and I'm screaming. You don't want to hear my shower voice. I don't have vocals like that. You know, I can carry this much of a tune. Alright? You don't want that. Especially when I'm sweating. No. So it's like it's cool to have like jamming music, but then gotta go back and like pull this out and then give you the whole workout vibe, and I'm like, erase the song from this segment. And you're just seeing me like jamming out. I'm like, what the heck is she listening to? Now let's go. Let's choose. Like I everything. We're in Guatemala today. Wow. He's got some nice styles. Okay, it don't seem to be too bad. We'll see.
Welcome back, guys. I'm Mark, the trainer Tommy Ribs, here once again in the beautiful country of Guatemala. Guys, we made it to workout number 10. We're at a place known as the Sacaleo Ruins. We're going to start at
mustache.
Here we go.
It's actually kind of, I wish it was just like, oh, we're speeding up. Okay,
so before we get started,
he walks faster
let's take a couple of big, deep breaths. We've got a lot to see today. It's going to come at us fast.
He's not walking as fast as I'm walking.
There's a lot of architecture, there's a lot of culture, a lot of stuff. It's going to come at us really quick. I just want to make sure that we have a little bit of context before we get going.
I don't think this is supposed to happen. Because this is saying...
I'm stoked that You're going to be a part of this.
Did I accidentally do that?
This little adventure.
What the heck?
All right. So geographically.
Oh no, that is right. This is a fast-paced one. Okay, I was looking at the incline. So there's like this.
Remember we were
Shoot.
at the Crater Lake. An incredible mist come in.
There's this. I can't. I'm flying.
I'm
gonna have to start talking already. There's two lines. So like one line. I don't know if y'all can see the screen on the other videos, but
just a little bit.
there's a speed line, and it tells you like how fast you're going. And then there's a incline line that'll tell you like how steep on the incline or the decline you're going. And so I'm looking at the incline and I'm like, that's not even going at 2 miles an hour. Wow, I'm walking at 2.8. And I'll go back and I'm like, that's not right. And then I look. For this entire walk, we're walking shy of 3 miles an hour. So it's one of those, I don't know if y'all ever heard of that, what is it, like 12% incline for 30 minutes on 3 or whatever.
Generalized group of people.
12 through 3 or 3 to 30, whatever. All this. I did that once.
Here.
Online, when I first started working out. Granted, if you've been with me, you know I'd be starting. But I'm gonna be there, okay? I'm not gaining 40 pounds, so.
The area between
point is,
American continents. So
walking this pace for a while. He's gonna get us going, and I'm excited.
Is considered.
Obviously, I'm here. I'm talking to you. He's talking to me. I'm looking at the trees there, looking at like some Mayan ruins of Guatemala, which is, you know, next. We were looking at castles yesterday, and then the day before that, we were in Canada. So this is so cool. I love this Northern track. So excited.
One of the groups of people who lived in this area.
There's a couple of like steep inclines later, I guess, that we go through, but they're not like for long periods of time. And it doesn't look like it goes past like,
you can say mile.
I don't know, what's that, past 6 or 7, and
say
then maybe
these were the Maya people.
12 at like the end.
This is a generalized group of people who had similarities.
I don't know, it's cool.
Still, I keep saying past tense, and it's not past tense because this is still the culture and the people. They're very much alive. There's over 7
And then we're going to skip the cool down on here today.
Here,
because we're going to go to the bike.
Within Mesoamerica,
and we're going to go to the vertical power.
Who is spread throughout the rest of the world, but still speak the Mayan language, that are still a part of the Mayan people. So we got to catch ourselves. This is something, it's not something that existed in the past, it's something that continues. But as with every group of people, there is a past, there's a history. And so this is what we're trying to do, is learn a little bit about that. So these people are connected through their language, through their culture, through their belief systems, through their religious practices.
I need an iFit t-shirt. That's what I'm shouting out.
In this area that we're going to be able to see today. So going back about 3,000 years, this is the beginning of when historians and archaeologists and anthropologists and linguists started to characterize this group of people as Maya. So right now, guys, we're touching down underneath these trees because we are actually on the outside of a wall, a protective barrier that is around this ancient city of Sacaleo.
The music's not playing.
There's a huge amount of history. It's really hard to reduce, really hard to simplify. But what I can say is right around the year 700 AD, so within the Common Era, or right around 1,300 years ago. This was right around the height of the Mayan civilization. There were city-states which were established all throughout Mesoamerica. This is different than the empires that existed to the north, the Aztec Empire, or the Incan Empire that existed to the south. The Maya were never an empire. They were a collection of city-states, different governing bodies with different rulers, chiefs, and kings, and they all lived independent of each other, but also they collaborated with each other. There wasn't a desire to spread and conquer under a unified government the way that there was with the Aztecs in the north during the 1500s, or the Incas in the south in the Andes, also during the 1500s. Another interesting differentiation is that the Inca and the Aztecs, these were not long-lasting civilizations the way that the Maya were. These instead were more political snapshots that were what was
walking so
existing at the time of the Spanish arrival.
And I like the little history lessons. It's kind of cool.
This area
it's like
meaning
going on a tour.
The American.
I happen to like go out of the country.
All right, guys. So a little bit of context. What we're going to do now is we're going to work our way up around these walls, and we're going to be able to work our way into some of these rooms. It's going to come at us fast. I'm going to do my very best to describe what we're seeing as we're seeing it. We'll take it just a little bit at a time. Here we go. All right, so I know that was a lot that I threw at you all at once. If you guys remember the very first place that we went to, the beginning of this road to recovery series, remember we went to Mexico. In Mexico, we saw the ruins at Tulum.
Oh, his legs are so big.
We also saw the ruins at Muyillo. You guys remember that? The incredible pyramids that we saw. All of this is the same group of people, the same civilization, the Maya civilization. Everything that we learned there is the exact same generalized group of people that we're talking about right now. Guys, right here on the back of this mound right here might look like just a hill. This is actually a pyramid. This is a pyramid that hasn't been excavated, so there is dirt and then there's grass that's growing on that. Check this out right here. Here's the mini that fell down from that tree. There's another in Costa Rica. Some of you guys promised me Costa Rica. Many of our other trainers that have been to Costa Rica. We learned a lot about this type of plant and its epiphytes. You know what epiphyte means? Epiphyte means if we built a pond, it's able to sustain itself from the nutrients it gathers around. Okay, we're going to come over here. We're going to go around this area. Guys, this wall that we saw, this was a protective wall. It was built around the city. The reason they built these protective walls is because at the height of the Maya civilization, there was a huge amount of conflict that broke out between these different city-states. There was a decrease in the amount of available resources, and because of that, it always happens with human beings. You sometimes have difficulty sharing. Everybody wants to have more. The more people there are, the more mouths to feed, the less space there is, the more territorial people get, and the more conflicts arise. So historians, archaeologists talk about the height of the Maya civilization and then the fall of the Maya civilization. They talk about these periods as pre-classic, and then classic, and then late classic, and post-classic. Pre-classic was before the height, as it was rising. Classic was at the height. Late classic was right at the very end of it, and then post-classic. This classic period was seen as the time when it was most thriving. And then because of the combination of what are believed ecological issues, climate change, as well as lack of resources, probably because of drought, there was a fall, a decline, where they weren't able to sustain the amount of people that existed within the civilizations. And because of that, famine broke out, and then war broke out. And then as a result of that, there was an increase in resources spent on military, and then these protective walls were built around these structures. So that's what we see here. Okay guys, right here, as we get into here closer, we'll start to see these little mounds. These little mounds are tombs. These mounds are the remnants of the foundations of some of the structures that the people would live in. This area right here, all of it, this is kind of our first view of the area. You can see off on the horizon, almost like a skyline of different buildings. And when you look at it, you might wonder,
every time I touch it, I shock myself.
Of these buildings, why are they set up in this particular way? Everything that was done in Maya civilization was based off of alignment to the stars, to the different planets, to everything that was going on around in the heavens. The religion, the belief system, everything was based around this cosmology, or sometimes referred to as cosmovision. Literally, the way that you see the alignment of the planets and the way that they move. Whew, again, that was a lot, guys. I'm just going to take this a little bit at a time. We're going to try to learn just a little bit at a time. And then things that we learn, we'll build on that. Okay, so should we take a break on history for just a second? I'm going to reach my pocket and see what producer has for me today. Missed out on these the last couple of times. There was so much to see. And honestly, I didn't want to pull us away from the stuff that we were able to see and talk about myself. Always makes me a little bit uncomfortable. We'll do this really quick, okay? All right.
Hey!
Either this or that. All right, this or that. Anthropology or geology?
Anthropology.
Like that. I think my first love was anthropology. Anthropology, obviously, comes from anthros, which means man, the study of man. Geology, geology too is rocks, you know? I'm super into rocks. Luckily here we get a really cool combination of both of those things. The other this or that, flip-flops or sneakers?
Snickers.
Gosh, that's hard too.
Like sneakers.
I'm gonna go with flip-flops. All right, let's see, what is your favorite childhood memory? Come on. Oh man, that's hard. I'm gonna have to think about that for a second. I'm gonna try to get back to it. Let's see, remind me if I don't. And then let's just see our quote of the day. This one's from Ernest Hemingway. He says, I love sleep. My life has a tendency to fall apart when I'm awake, you know? Oh, gee, that's true. You know, my life kind of fell apart when I fell asleep, though. Not to get too into that, but I took a nap for like 4 months back in 2020, and when I woke up, oh man, it was like my whole world fell apart. Skinny, really, really had blood sores. My lungs didn't work anymore. Kind of like a big factory reset. Not in a good way. All right, guys, right here, right in front of us. These again, these are buildings. This is the foundation of buildings. This right here is a plaza. We go back and imagine, let's go back about 1,000 years at the height of this civilization. On top of these mounds would be built places of residence. So these would be the areas where people would live. These places of residence would be built out of a combination of wood and then different organic plant materials to make up the roofs. Sometimes thatch, sometimes straw, sometimes wood. The reason the building materials were made out of these lighter materials that weren't stone is because this area is one of the most heavy seismic areas in the entire world. There's more seismic activity here than any other place in the world. Remember, because of the combination of those two tectonic plates, Cocos plate from the Pacific, North American plate, and then the Caribbean plate. These come together, and when you get seismic activity, earthquakes, you have lots of situations where the roof can literally fall down on your head. And you'd rather have wood fall on your head than straw fall on your head than stone fall on your head. All right, guys, this right here, we're going to come around the corner, and this is going to be our first glimpse of what's known as the ball court. This right here is the equivalent of the stadium. This was a game that was incredibly important for people in Mesoamerica. This is a place where two different teams come together and they would play this game. There would be these hoops on the sides of the court, these slanted walls, and the two different teams would try to hit the balls, these solid rubber balls. Rubber comes from this part of the world. These solid rubber balls, they try to hit it with their elbows, or their shoulders, or their hips, and they would try to hit the ball through these hips. Kind of like a combination of volleyball, soccer, Quidditch, this is something that would be played right here. And then people would gather on the top and they would watch. This was something that was really hard to emphasize how important this was for the society. This wasn't just simply recreation. This is a way that religious decisions, political decisions, every life decisions would take place. And let me explain why. It was a little bit difficult to wrap your head around, or it was for me at least. This is a place where the teams, the two separate teams, represented two separate choices. Sometimes it represented light or darkness, it represented living or dead, it represented oftentimes opposition, so two separate choices. So these two teams would come together, and they were responsible for playing this game, and then based off of the outcome of the game, the people would make decisions about the future. So think about this as like flipping a coin. You've got heads and tails. You want to make a decision. Rather than just flipping a coin, they would have a game. And then based off of the outcome of the game, that would determine the decision that the rulers would make. These were priests, these were chiefs, these were rulers. And based off of the outcome, it was seen as a type of divination, or a way of divining things that they should do in the future. Also, based off of the way that the ball would bounce, different plays. Think about when you watch football, watch basketball, when you watch soccer. There are particular plays that go down in history. People see these incredible plays in the way that the ball is passed back and forth, and then the trajectory towards the goal. These different plays that took place, these would literally go down in history, and they would mean very particular things based off of the way the ball moved through the different hoops, you could call them, or rings, you could call them. This was similar to the way that the stars and the planets in the cosmos. And the priests, the shamans, the rulers, they would derive from those particular plays. We talk about pressure as one of these plays. Another thing that was really interesting, let's come up here, we'll go up on top and we can actually look down on the court. Another thing that was interesting was that based off of the outcome, sometimes different offerings or different sacrifices were made. Oftentimes this was in the form of plants, other times it was in the form of animals, and even sometimes it was in the form of humans. Now before we get into this idea that this was a bloodthirsty people who were obsessed with human sacrifices, this isn't necessarily accurate. This is something that sometimes blood was required to be able to appease the gods. That was the belief. But oftentimes what it was prisoners that had been taken captive. They would be sacrificed in kind of what we would think of as a public execution. And this sacrifice, the blood that was shed during the sacrifice, would be used to appease the gods. And this would ensure improvements in agriculture, it would ensure improvements in fertility, and it would also set the people up to have a prosperous future. So as the civilization started to decline, there was an increase in this type of ceremony. You can think of, or you can just imagine, the people who were literally starving to death. They were short on resources, and as people get desperate, they seek out different ways that they can try to find favor with the gods, appease the gods, figure out a way to change the trajectory of their future. So all of that, taking all of that consideration, we can understand just a little bit better the significance of all of it. All right, guys, right here.
Okay.
Just pause really quick. Let's just look out here, and we can see all these different temples, all of these different pyramids, all of these different structures. All right, let's work our way down into there and see a little bit more. All right, guys, I'm going to be really careful going down these steps. I'm waiting for it. They're so deep though. Okay, we're going to come up here and see a little bit more. Guys, we're going to get our climbs in here. We're not going to run today, but we're going to do a couple of these short, punchy climbs. Okay, headed out into here. This is the plaza. Great plaza. This is the area where you can imagine people coming and going between these different structures. Guys, when you look at these structures, it almost looks like there's cement. When we get close, I want to show you. This isn't something that has been done just recently as a way to restore this. This is actually the way that these structures were built anciently. Come over here and I'll show you. So they're made out of stones. These stones are gathered from the surrounding area. There's limestone. And we have granite stones. Some of the rivers. And then on the outside of this, we have this stucco or this cement that's put on there. Guys, if you've walked with me before in different areas, you've seen lots of limestone. Remember when we were in Mexico, we saw those cenotes? This is the same type of geology that exists in this area. Remember, limestone is made out of calcium carbonate. What happens with limestone is when it's exposed to acid rain, that is carbon, which is trapped in water, and it comes down and it hits that limestone. It's a weak acid, and that acid rain, it breaks down that limestone, so it starts to dissolve. So there was a process that the Maya used where they would heat up limestone above 1,600 degrees Fahrenheit. That heating process is something known as pyrotechnology. That heating process would create something known as quicklime. Quicklime, or calcium oxide, that will be written out C, large c, lowercase a, and then large L, calcium oxide. What happens with calcium oxide is when calcium oxide is exposed to carbon dioxide, it actually becomes stronger. So whereas limestone, when it's exposed to carbon dioxide in the atmosphere or in meteoric water through acid rain, it disintegrates, quicklime actually becomes stronger. So what this does is when it's applied to the outside of these structures, it actually makes these buildings resistant to chemical decay. It also makes them stronger as far as the seismic activity that takes place in the area. So the only difference between now and what we would see at a later time, let's come around here, you can see all of these, is that during the height of the Maya civilization, these would be painted. So you can imagine these areas are painted with different hieroglyphics, different artistic representations, everything incredibly vibrant colors like we see throughout all of this part of the world. All right, guys, these pyramids, you can see they're built up on the top. These are the temples. This is the main pyramid here. Over to the right, we've got these tombs that we just worked our way around. We're going to take a view of this main pyramid, and then we're going to work over towards a couple of other buildings. And then, guys, unfortunately, we're going to have to wrap this up. It's come at us quick. We got a few more minutes, so we'll check it out. Look at this, guys. We've got 9 different layers up to the top. These pyramids are the most stable type of structure that you could create out of the materials that were available at this time. You start out at the bottom, and then you build up a little bit at a time with the heaviest and the strongest being at the bottom, and then working up to the very top. When I see this, what I think about is the way that we can prioritize things in our lives, me specifically. Starting with the most important things at the bottom, doing the hardest work first, eating the most important foods first, doing the difficult work that I have to do first. Doing all of that and then increasing slowly based off of priorities, doing the most important things first, and then building it from there.
You said gonna shock up my
all
arm.
the right components.
I am
in a
static
day or in a week
electricity.
or in our lives. But if they're stacked up in the wrong
You should have done it with the right arm.
right, then some disaster comes. Say a earthquake, and everything comes crumbling down. Not because the components of our life are wrong, but because they're prioritized in the wrong order. All right, guys, check this out. Come over here and we'll look out another view. We've got the main temple there, we've got a smaller temple and a smaller pyramid. We've got the tombs. We've got the ball court there off in the distance. We're going to come down here and then we're going to climb up really steep. In this area that we're going to end up, this is an area that was where the politicians, the rulers, would spend their time. They could look out and they could see the entire area. And then again, remember that all of these different buildings, the structures, were set up to align with the planets. They were set up to correspond with the different summer solstice and the winter solstice. They were set up to show true north, as well as south. Don't look at my shorts. All right, here we go.
Bet you got some tiny shorts on. Okay. Tiny.
All right, couple more steps, guys. This is a steep, climb she climb. Don't hate me, guys. This isn't my fault. I'm blaming it on the Maya. All right. Okay. Made it to the top. Okay, we're going to come over here and show you guys just one more thing real quick. So as I mentioned before, there was wood that was used for the places that the people lived. Look at this, we've got these cross beams, and on top of that, more stone steps. Then come through here. Look at this. Look at this, guys. There's a window right here. If you look this way, you can see this is pointing in a very specific direction. And then right here, directly towards you, this is an area where light could come through a very particular day of the year and then shine down there. All right. Come over here, we'll take in one last view of the area. And this will wrap it up, unfortunately. This has been a great one, guys. Thanks so much for making it all the way to the end. We're here again at these incredible ruinas, the Sacalero ruins, here in Huehuetenango, in the highlands of Guatemala. Workout number 10, guys. Great job. I'm your active trainer, Tommy Rez. Rest up, and I'll see you next time. All right, guys, make sure you come back next time for workout number 11. We are going to start out with what's known as the Mirador de Juan Villegas Oliveri. He's a famous Guatemalan poet. I'm going to tell you a little bit about his life and why his works and words are so significant to the people here. We're going to work along the ridge, and then we're going to see this incredible view of Huehuetenango. It's a good one, guys. Rest up, and I'll see you next time.
Oh, snap, look at that. Challenge complete. Whoop, did it. Yay. Okay, cool. Now, let's see. We'll bike it out a little bit, I guess. Like 5 minutes. We're gonna go into a cycle. Backward cycle. I did this the other day, and I really like the way it made it back on my thighs too. Because And right here. Just a little bit. Or something. Nothing crazy. It's like on it too, but it's like, oof. She's like lightweight going that way. Gracious. This way works different muscles. What's wrong? Okay, but what's wrong? What's wrong? Okay. Excuse me. That's just same muscles, but in a different way. I explain that. It feels different. Then it feels the same, then it feels different. Oh, my armpits are sweating. Oh, I have no things. Thank you. Huh? Can you ask your dad, please? Thank you. Woo! do hip push-ups too. Let's see, you do it this way. Yeah, sure. That way. I don't even know if I'm supposed to be on 11. It's probably supposed to be on 12. I don't know. Whatever. We're just doing something. Gracious.